When I rejetted my Honda XR650L's carburetor, the question of altitude came up a couple of times. Now in this video we're climbing up to 6,400 feet to see what effect it has. Stick around. Hi, I'm Francois from adventurebiketroop.com. Now a few months ago I did the Dave's mod on my XR650L. So I de-snorkeled the bike, I put in a twin air foam filter, I removed the smog pump, and I did the modifications on the carburetor. So I drilled the slide and shimmed the needle with one washer, and I rejetted the carburetor with bigger jets. And the reason for this is not for more power. Some people report more power, but for me this was more for reliability. I know these bikes come out lean, jetted lean from the factory in order to pass emissions, and that makes it run a little bit hotter. And because it's air cooled, you need the mixture just right, rather too rich than too lean. So I went for the Dave's mod for that reason. And I've had to play around with the jetting quite a lot. So the stock jetting sizes is 50, 152, so that's, let me just check. Yeah, it's a 50 pilot jet, a 152 main jet. That's the stock sizes that Honda comes out from factory. The Dave's mod recommends a 55 pilot jet and a 158 main jet, and that is reportedly for, or I think they suggest that for sea level, and we are at 2,000 feet. So it just felt like the bike ran too rich. I had to turn in the idle screw or the mixture screw all the way in, and it still wouldn't die, or the revs wouldn't drop. So then I went back down a size, because I read online that for every 2,000 feet that you go up in altitude, you have to go down one jet size. Now I've got the stock pipe, I have to mention that as well. So I went back down to a 52 pilot jet and a 155 main jet, and now the bike runs good. I'm not sure where the mixture screw is. I had to fit an aftermarket screw. I'll link it in the description below. It works, but with big hands or even medium-sized hands, it's still tricky to get in there to turn the screw, and with the tight spring on it, you really have to turn it to turn it in and out. But the bike starts fine, and let's just see. It is hot now, but it starts first turn. Sometimes when it's cold, you have to crank it once or twice with the choke on. But anyways, it starts right, it runs good. But then I got a lot of questions about different altitudes, and I'm also not sure, because some people say the Dave's mod is good from sea level all the way to 6,000 feet. Others say no, you have to lower one size for every 2,000 feet climbing. But it is a bit of a playing around. So I made another video somewhere up here where I chatted about my whole experience of taking out the carburetor 4 or 5 times to get it just right, and the things you have to look out for, like keeping stuff clean, etc. So go and watch that video after this one. So in this video I went up to 2,000 meters, that's 6,400 feet, to see whether there's any change in how the bike runs, how it starts, and whether it's possible to run this jetting at that bigger range. Okay, so let's quickly chat about why altitude would make a difference if you're into this. And if you don't know, most people know this, a lot of people might not, but there's a constant air fuel mixture, or a perfect air fuel mixture. I think it's 14.7 to 1, that makes the engine just run just right. The oxygen in the air mixes with the fuel vapor, and that is what ignites. So if it's too lean, the bike will run hot. If it's too rich, it will foul the plugs. So why does this change? Now the jet allows a specific amount of fuel through a fixed opening. That's the jet sizes that we can change with the jetting. Now if you go up, there's less air, and that means less oxygen, so there's more fuel because it's a fixed hole per volume of air. Now why is there less oxygen up there than down here? Well, gravity, the molecules has weight, air has weight, mass, so that pushes down. So the air is more dense at sea level because of all the mass pressing down on it. So there's more oxygen molecules than high up there in the mountains. So when we go high up in the mountains, we have to go down in the jet sizes in order to get the same air-fuel mixture. So that's why. So initially the idea was to just ride up there and chat as I go along, but I don't have a proper mic set up on the helmet yet. And I also had the helmet on the action cam on top of my helmet, which just made a lot of wind noise instead of the nice exhaust sound. For some reason I didn't think of all the wind up there on the mountain. Right at the top now, the wind noise is probably going to be terrible, so please bear with me. But just look at that view, that's insane, man. This last little section of cement road, oh, that's biking heaven. So it was just impossible to film, that's why I'm chatting about it down here. So it's quite flat where we live, it's about 2,000 feet in this whole area here. But then when you go up the mountain, this is the highest mountain in the Drakensberg range. It's one of the highest points in quite a big area of the country, and the road up there is quite bad. We had huge rains early in this year, so it's quite washed out. They fixed the road in some areas by just throwing in big bags of tile adhesive. I don't know where they got it from or what, but it looks like someone tried to fix the road. I saw a car going up there, Toyota RAV4, we had to turn around. It was too bad. And that's where I realized this XR in stock form, stock suspension, I haven't even set the sag or anything, is awesome off-road. A lot of people complain about the suspension and the brakes. The brakes are 100% fine coming down that steep mountain. The suspension, I just rode over big holes passing trucks, no problems at all. I love this bike. I'll do a suspension setup video when I get to it at some stage. Apparently it's important and makes a difference in how it handles, but the bike was just amazing going up the mountain. I saw some donkeys, cows. It's really rural Africa up there. This road was built, I think the base, it's a radar military base that was built in the 50s. And then it went into disuse somewhere in 2003, I think. And so there's a lot of towers up there for internet, and it's just an awesome view up there. The plant diversity is immense. There's more than 2,000 different plant species, a lot of endemic plants. That's more than the whole 20,000 square kilometers of the Kruger National Park. It's also more than the whole of Table Mountain. There's a lot of diversity, plant diversity up there, and it's absolutely beautiful. Even now in the dry season, it's a completely different climate up there. It was actually quite cold while it was hot down here. It was a bit overcast. You could almost see the curvature of the earth, the round shape of the earth up there, but it was quite cloudy, so I had to go right through the clouds. Anyways, it's a beautiful place there. I've actually run up there. This is actually the shirt, I didn't wear this on purpose, but there's a race going up there, and the first 5.8 kilometers you climb a full kilometer vertical climb. It took me 1 hour and 15 minutes to do that first 5.8 kilometers. So anyways, this is quite high up. Oh, and the last section is so steep that they had to cement it, so it's a concrete road, the last section. If it was dirt, no one would have been able to go up there. And in a heavy car, you have to actually put it in low range to get up there, or drive first gear. With the XR in second gear, it was just awesome. I knew there was no traffic because no one has signed in on the mountain for that whole day. There was only one person the previous day, so it's quite quiet up there because of the bad road. There's only loggers next to the roads. Now anyways, that was awesome on the tar road sections, driving up and down, or driving, weaving up the mountain around the corners in this forest. It was quite difficult to film yourself. I had to, just to get one shot of me coming around the corner, meant putting down the tripod, focusing, getting back on the bike, riding down, going to find a safe spot to turn around, coming back up, and repeat the process to get the camera again. So that's why I couldn't get proper footage, something I really need to work on. So respect to all the guys filming themselves from a third person perspective. So anyways, how did the bike run? Up there, I actually didn't feel a difference. The bike idled fine when I stopped, it never died, it still pulled strong. The only thing that I noticed is when I switch it off and I switch it on again, it cranked quite a few times, and sometimes I had to give it gas because it was too rich, and with one big bang it would start. But once it started, it idled fine. I mean, you would really need sensitive ears to hear the difference in idle, but for all practical purposes, it ran absolutely fine. And I remember once we rode in Ethiopia on 200cc Chinese delivery bikes with simple little carbs, and we never rejetted. I didn't even know about rejetting or anything. I just knew there's a screw that you can turn in and out. And we went up to 8,200 feet in Lalibela to go and check out those rock-hewn churches. And even there, the bikes ran fine. They were slow, but they were slow anyways. They were slow everywhere. It was fully loaded up there in the mountains. I just turned the screw in to lean out the mixture somewhat, but they always started fine. They always ran fine. So my conclusion, not very scientific, is that the jetting is not that sensitive. Obviously, it does make a difference. If you go to 10,000 feet, you'll probably have to rejet and you'll probably have starting problems. And if you run there for hundreds of miles, it might foul the plugs. But if you go up and down, not an issue. So that's my conclusion. Now, ideally, what I would want to do is get a proper setup to actually be able to turn in the mixture screw, because that would make the starting easier, because you can lean it out easily by turning in the mixture screw for the starting. So at the idle circuit, there's another link below. Someone that made a little, with a little tube, vacuum tube, made a little twisty throttle thingy or a screw thingy, and I think I should actually get one of those, because this is too difficult to turn in for me. It's supposed to work, but there's just not enough space on the XR650L. And then I also still need to play around with the jetting. I think I could actually go down one size on the main jet to increase the fuel consumption. I did a fuel consumption test with a different gearing, but like some of you commented, you actually do need a temperature gauge, because you want to see what it does to temperature as well. There's no use in leaning out the mixture again and getting better fuel consumption, but then the heat rises. So I just haven't, there's no stock available in our country for the temperature gauges, so I have to make something myself or just wait. But that is something for these tests that is absolutely critical, especially on an air-cooled motor. So you can check out the sprocket test that I did with the Fritzko sprockets and the fuel consumption somewhere up here. There's acceleration one as well, so go check out the playlist in the description below. So anyways, thank you for watching this far. If you want to support this channel, you can go to the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below and on the screen. If you want to donate something to fill up this small little tank, it doesn't take much. And thank you so far for the guys who've helped me out there to keep making these free videos for you. If you have any questions on the Honda XR650L, please pop them in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. It's never very scientific, but I love ideas from you guys. And then I've recently asked in the community posts about my 1977 Land Cruiser. It's a diesel HJ45 Troopy that I wanted to feature on this channel, and everyone said yes, feature on the channel, to don't start a new channel. So pretty soon you'll start seeing some of those Land Cruiser videos. So in the comments again, let me know what you think. Should I post it on this channel or start a new one? Thank you for joining, and I'll see you next week.